My name is Neil Winders, and I've moved out from Kitsap County in the 2005 timeframe. No, 2008. Yeah, slightly after that. Lived in Port Orchard for about 20 years, 25 years, and since being out here, after I retired, I joined the Park and Trails Advisory Board, and a year later I also joined the Public Works Transportation Improvement Board. So we've had a chance to work together for a couple of years on this current issue, along with a lot of other fun issues, but this issue is near and dear to us because it led several of our Citizens Advisory Board members to create a 501c3 nonprofit, and that is now Mason County Friends of the Park. We have a website you guys are more than happy to check out. It's mcfop.org. Has a lot of information that we're putting up there currently on the issue of the MPD as it goes forward. The MPD is the Metropolitan Parks District, and what that would do is that would create a separate park district that would be funded by a tax levy, and it would break it away from the current leadership of the county commissioners, and you would have a separate 5 commissioner board that would lead that. It would also provide stable funding going forward into the future, and I think it's a great way to take this gateway to the Olympics and do some really great things that have been on our comprehensive plan for several years. Regional trail systems is a big focus, along with development of some great ideas like the Gobi Bridge, which just made your Bike magazine. I'll let Monty talk about that a little bit later. So what we're looking to do tonight is to start a dialogue. You know, I know there's going to be a lot of issues. We have both commissioners here. After 2 years of finally, you know, going through the process of getting it to the point where we had a countywide survey that was done in April, we put together a resolution and presented that to the commissioners. The commissioners then redrafted the resolution so that it was introduced by the commissioners, and it was approved. So this November on the ballot will be a measure to the people for the possibility of a Metropolitan Parks District. So I'll let Monty do a little bit more of the introduction, and then we'll get into some of the meat of the issues. There's a lot going on, and it's been a great learning process. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, hi. Thank you, Monty Ritter. And first, I really want to thank Herb and I want to thank Mary, you know, for getting all this set up. Really appreciate it, to get it out to everybody. That was the foremost thing. And a couple weeks ago, when I was first addressing this, it was because we wanted to maybe get this issue in front of everybody tonight, and we'd asked our commissioners to vote on putting this on the ballot tomorrow. But, you know, we've been working on this for a long time, and they knew that trying to get everything done was of the, you know, the time limits was really an issue, and to get plenty of time to do this, it was important to just vote on it now, because they could see that we've already done our homework, and we believe that, you know, what we've come up with is a plan that everybody is going to agree with, because we've reached out through open houses, polls, we've had public meetings, and surveys that we've funded, and we tried to reach out to everybody. And so at a certain point, it's just time to sit there and say, this is our best shot. And right now, we have an opportunity to go for it. Just a little bit, like Neil was saying, you know, the way that Mason County Friends of the Park got going is way back in about 2008, we had our Mason County Regional Trails Plan, and for me, that's when I first saw you know, what was possible for Mason County. And I gotta say, I have to thank, I think Herb, yeah, that Gerhard, that you in the room, Herb, you did a good job back in 2008. And it's what got me going, and so you can only thank yourself.
There's a reason we're here.
That's right, but that was 2008, and if I can bring you back to, this is 2013. And this is the Mason County Parks and Trails Comprehensive Plan for 2013. And this one here, not only is it in color, which is really cool, and not only, you might see that I was involved in this, which kind of gives me a little bit of pride because I've been trying since 2008 to see that we could get this stuff done. Our Villa Oldie, she was the consultant, she drafted this, and it's a beautiful document. I'd like to leave this here for the people of the voice, so as you kind of go through things over the next few months, you get, or you know, till the November election, you get a chance to see what's gone on. I'm also going to leave this regional trail plan, and if you get a chance to look at it, one of the things that you'll notice is that way back there, when Herb was drafting it, there's this great plan that was done by Pat, and I space on his last name, but this is the new Belfair State Park to Allen's Trail. And if you look at it, you can actually look at this and you'll see that all of this is basically what Herb and the crew did way back in 2008 with a lot of public input. Okay, so except this loop is new, and the fact that you go through Coulter Creek, well, that's new also, but we didn't have Coulter Creek then. That's something that's brand new, and the county just, you know, just worked really hard to get, you know, we're still finishing things off, but, you know, it's going to be a good acquisition for the county. But if you look at this, if you look at our plan, I have to say, or Herb's plan, because he is the one that was on it way back when, they have this also, this nice addition that kind of cuts up to Sand Hill Park. And since the county commissioners just got this RCO grant funded, and there's going to be some work happening at the end of 2017 to refurbish Sand Hill Park, you know, you would think that, you know, we can work together and we can have something like this going on so that we have kind of a nice community trail system. This to me is what has driven me since 2008 to be part of the Parks and Trails. We don't have a trail system. So,
Okay, tap out.
go ahead.
All right, tap out. All right.
There we are. Tag team.
So, a lot of people, you know, if they were looking at a new measure coming up on the ballot, the first thing anyone's going to look at as a voter is they're going to say, okay, what's in it for me? You know I certainly would, right? So, what would be the reason for putting together a Metropolitan Parks District? You know, I would ask you the question, especially like I know Phil, he's out there, he's a bike rider, you know, name me one regional multi-use trail in Mason County. Because there isn't one. So, when I came on to the Parks Board, I was working with John Keats on looking at the possibility of using the Navy rail line from Shelton to Belfair and on up into Kitsap County and doing a Rails with Trails program. We took it all the way to Derek Kilmer's office and eventually all the way up to the Undersecretary of the Navy's office, and they just don't let you play in their sandbox. But along the way, you know, they would bring up issues like, you know, the Navy just doesn't have trails. We just don't have them on our properties. And I found out that the Anacostia Riverwalk Trail goes right past Navy Yard headquarters in Washington, D.C. And they said, yeah, but we just don't let trails, you know, people cross our train lines. I said, well, I do it twice when I played around the golf out at Lake Limerick. Well, you know, there's a safety concern, you know, there's security issues. I said, yeah, I can hit your train with a 7-iron from Gold Mountain, you know. So all along the way, every wall that they would throw up, you know, we would find exceptions to the rules. But in the process, I got to meet the head of the Anacostia Riverwalk Initiative in Washington, D.C. And I'm telling him about this wonderful idea from Shelton out to Kitsap County using trails. He says, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. His name's Craig Linhart, and he owns property out here. I think it's on South Shore, it might be on North Shore. I said, what are you doing in DC? He says, well, it's my job, but I live out there. You know, so I wasn't talking to some guy in Ohio who had no idea, you know. This guy actually lives in our area, and he heads this thing up, and it's a $2 billion initiative over the next 20 years. And the only reason I bring this up is because they're connecting these multi-use paths, you know, biking, hiking, bicycling, and they're connecting the Washington, D.C. metro area to the over 700 miles of trails running throughout Maryland. Now, think about that, okay? Being on the Public Works Board and working with the transportation folks, we have 650 miles of county roadway that they maintain in the county. Maryland has more multi-use paths than we have county roads, right? So what's in it for me, you know? What could be done if we had a regional trail network? Not only just around Belfair, but even going further.
I gotta say, and with that, let me just pick up from right where we left off and say this is the opportunity of what we have if we have a Metropolitan Park District, okay? As we say, we've talked with, you know, people from the state. I even had a conversation in the Commissioner Chamber where I mentioned that Senator Tim Sheldon told me that a Metropolitan Park District is a powerful tool that can be used for the people of the state of Washington to do grand projects like this. And he had an opportunity to say, no, that's not what I said. And he didn't say that. So what I'm thinking is he understands that this is a powerful tool that has been used by the state legislature, as Derek Kilmer's office has also told us, so that if we want to go through and do a grandiose plan like they have done in Clallam County. This is the Clallam County Olympic Discovery Trail, and it goes along from Bremerton past CQ, Port Angeles, along abandoned railroad trestles, etc. But it is only a one-way trail that goes from Bremerton out towards Forks.
Well, currently it starts
not
in
completed.
Swim.
Yeah, okay.
And
it's not completed.
It'll eventually go all the way out to Forks.
But it already accounts for over $1.5 million in revenues to Clallam County just on the existing spans alone.
Per year.
Per year. So this is what we're talking about. Hey, aren't we good? Come on, I see laughter in the back. Peanut gallery, stop doing that.
This is how we roll.
That's right, we're good at this. We've been doing it for a while. So what we're saying is we have an opportunity. But here's what Tim Sheldon was saying, and I thought this is kind of important. It is a powerful tool. We have to use it wisely. You know, if we want to pick this up, it is an example of Mason County, as we've had a lot of industry abandon us, a lot of mills shut down, and a lot of reason for people not to come into Mason County, because we're just kind of in this zone right now that it's hard to attract new industry. And I think it's really behooves all of us to decide that we want to take on amongst ourselves at a small cost the ability to create a taxing district that can do great things like make a regional trail system.
And other things.
And amongst other things. And we need to have something like that to create the trails that we want to envision here in Belfair. But also, once this is created, where are we going to have these trails go? And I would like to suggest that something like out here at the Vance Creek Camp Govey Background Trail, which has been explored with the Green Diamond as far as being an option, we have an opportunity, and it was just mentioned in the bite here, to have an entity that would work together with Green Diamond and maybe create trails across this. I can't speak for anyone. This is an elected agency that's not even been developed yet. So it's important for us to think, how do we go about doing that? And I got 4 numbers. I think the number 2, number 5, the number 8, and the number 12. Those are the 4 numbers that I would like to see before I would vote for a Metropolitan Park District. Okay? And first off, I have to say 2, and 2 is the number of people from the north end who need to immediately, so they are immediately appointed by our commissioners to be appointed to the Citizens Advisory Board for the Mason County Parks and Trails System, because I believe that it is important for the Citizens Advisory Board to go and ask our commissioners to look at how this impacts the county before we get to an election, so that we have some kind of a groundwork for the citizens to look at, to decide on. Right now, everything is rather ethereal or ambiguous. At least there's nobody now that we can have who can talk with authority. That brings me to the second number, which is 5. 5 are the commissioners we need to be commissioners at large. And as talking to the people at the election department down at Mason County, down at the county commission, whatever. I talked to Fina, and she says what we have is we're having 5 positions at large. So it means that everyone who wants to vote or wants to run for an election position has to decide where they want to run for position number 1, position number 2, position number 3, 4, or 5. If we have 5 really good people who all run without having any communication amongst themselves, knowing what's happening, they could all run for position number 1 and only one of them would be appointed. But if we have some communication between these people before they run, they have the opportunity to get together, and then as a body, they could go to the commissioners and they could say, hey, as a body, we'd like to have a little bit of dialogue with the commissioners to ask, what are we getting into? And we'd like to be able to present that to the citizens who are going to vote for us. And then we have a little bit more communication. But then I'd say 8. 8 is the board members. The board members are going to be the people, if we do go about electing this county, metropolitan, countywide, unincorporated Metropolitan Park District, we need 8 people who are going to serve on the Citizens Advisory Board. And these 8 people who are serving on the Citizens Advisory Board, they're going to present to the commissioners what is forwarded to them from a Citizens Advisory Commission. The Citizens Advisory Commission hopefully is more than 12 people. It can be as many people who care enough to show up. But at least in my book, before I wish to support a Metropolitan Park District, I'd like to see we have 5 good candidates for each 5 positions. I'd like to see that if we have more than 5 positions, that these people who are willing to take on the position as a commissioner, one of the 5 commissioners, if they are not elected to the position, please state before you run. I would like to see this, but it's just my suggestion, that you would say that you would also volunteer to serve as a Citizens Advisory Board member, because we still need to have a Citizens Advisory Board, and we also need to have more than 12 people on this Citizens Advisory Commission that will in fact create a comprehensive plan, like that was already done several times by the county. And these things take a lot of community effort, and if you want, when you look at them, you'll see there are a lot of people over the years have volunteered. Their names are mentioned, and I appreciate everyone's help in doing that. But what you'll see is that there's a lot of work that's gone on, and the next step, I really do believe, is we need communication between the county and this new MPD that we're proposing to see which of these projects that have been presented since before 2002 and have been carried over, well, some of them the county's taken care of. You know, Coulter Creek, that one's good. Sand Hill Park, got that going on. North Mason Field, yay there. Hoodsport, hey, everybody, Hood Canal, that's a good one, everybody. You know, when we try and talk about what the commissioners are doing as far as the parks, we're firing just fine. We're not trying to sit there and jump right in and take over the Parks Department. All we're trying to say is what we are not doing now and what we will not do in the future unless we start a Metropolitan Park District is we can come up with a trail system that is regional wide. And I don't speak for our new commissioners that we hire. This is up to public discussion, that's just my own opinion. but I think that we need to have this discussion. We have plenty of time. We have till the 23rd, which is August 23rd, 24th, and 25th. They're gonna hold the sign-in for commissioners. So if you want to sign in on the 23rd, but I think,
3 days.
3 days. So, but on the 22nd, if you guys are the fourth Monday of every month, on the 22nd, the Voice should be holding a meeting unless I'm wrong. And would that be the fourth Monday? Is that how you do it? Okay, so that'd be the 22nd, that's before the 23rd. And I would encourage the Voice to, just before this important, submittal time for people, that we have the opportunity to have people come in front of us, and say, hey, what do they believe in? And then we say, hey, why don't these people all run for different districts? It's an idea so that on the 23rd, 24th, and 25th, we get 5 strong candidates.
And the district will be at large. So it doesn't matter if you're in District 1 or 2 or 3. You're still representing all of Mason County. We looked at some of the other ways of doing that. There was a suggestion to go to the Public Works folks, come up with 5 equally populated districts. To do that would have required, thousands of dollars to pay our Public Works folks to research that, and then actually do a legal description on each of those, and then find candidates for each of those. And if you look at the 18 Metropolitan Parks districts throughout the state, the majority of them are run at large. So we felt that's a good way to go. So beyond that, Jesse.
Yeah, Daniel, so could you repeat that item? So the 23rd, 24th, and 25th, what's occurring again?
Candidate filing period is.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
All right.
So I wanted, it was kind of vague, so if you could kind of.
Yeah. So what it is that we now have the measure approved by the county. Okay. The filing date with the state is August 2nd. All right. After August 2nd, then those dates will be the special filing period that those commissioners need to get down to the assessor's office. Is that correct?
Auditor.
The auditor's office. Okay. And that's where they'll put their name in the hat. Now, the wonderful thing about the way that we're approaching this is, if they were just to, if we'd have done a citizen's petition, and got that through, and we were trying to run this election, by ourselves, those candidates would have to come up with like their own funding for their own campaign, and all this kind of stuff. Well, bless our commissioners for passing the resolution, because those candidates can go in, get their names on the list. It's not going to be any out-of-pocket expense for them to get on the ballot, but it's important to get those names there so that we have time to develop the ballot measure.
Can I say, I also talked to the election department, and they haven't had to run across this position, they have this situation before, so they're like, don't know what to do. But what they're gonna do is, in order so we can get it on their election pamphlet, which is an electronic filing, they're trying to figure out how we can have people, what the deadlines is for getting all this sort of stuff. So as soon as we find out, we'll make sure that everybody knows.
So we've thrown a ton of information at you in a very short time. So I see a lot of heads spinning, eyes rolling, and I know you have to have a bunch of questions. And I like that because it starts a great dialogue, right?
These 5 people that sign up, the thing that bothers me is that the people that may sign up, I don't know what their motivation is going to be, but why don't the people on your, what is the name of your organization?
Mason County Friends of the Parks.
Yeah, are you all going to sign up and run for
I'm
commission?
retired.
I understand that.
So, we're all
Yeah.
retired by the way.
Can I answer
Right?
that?
So
can
No,
I say?
it was funny because I was talking to John Keats today on the phone, and I said, you know, I joined the Park and Trails Advisory Board because I really had a passion for bike trails and wanted to see something happen, you know, in Mason County. I said, but John, I didn't realize that I would have to start my own, you know, 501c3 and then get an MPD issue on the ballot, you know, just so I can start to work on my trails. So, yeah, I am involved, but I just can't see, you know,
I don't know if there's gonna be
Being a
the same
commissioner.
passion.
Okay.
What I see on you.
oh, it doesn't mean that I won't be working in the background.
Tag. Okay. Double tag. Okay, so hey, wait, let me say this because Tag, you're it. She's up next because what she's gonna tell you is why it is that what we are doing has, we are limited by what we are doing in the power of this Citizens Advisory Board. This Citizens Advisory Board of 12 and more people who are going to be under the directions of this 8-member board, hopefully 9, because we like an alternate member in case there's not enough for a quorum and people are out for vacation, so 9 would be nice. And these 5 commissioners, the Citizens Advisory Board is going to create this comprehensive plan. And it's going to do that by reaching out and having a lot of open houses. You know, it's going to go to all the community. It's going to have, this stuff's got wonderful stuff. I got to say, this stuff here, this one here is a beautiful piece of work that Herb did years ago. And we keep referring to it. It's an appendix of all this. And so
But you're saying that this board will be after the MPD is created?
Right, and so what...
We gotta get the MPD created first.
But in order to create the MPD and to know that we are going forward with a plan that everybody appreciates and everybody can get backing for, well, like I say, I believe these numbers, that we need 2 people from the north end right now to vote, to join the Citizens Advisory Board. We need 5 commissioners that everybody can meet and we can all talk to and have one-on-one conversations with. And then on the 22nd, they walk out the door and we say, bang, 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 bang. You 5 guys are the ones that we think are the, you know, should go for these 5 positions. And these are the ones that we, you know, all agree on. And then if there's other people who want to run for all these, and I hope that there are, because we need these 8 people to sign a commitment, a pledge, that then they join the Citizens Advisory Board. Because the more voices, the better. All right? And what happens, like I'm saying, no matter what, this Citizens Advisory Board puts together this master plan. The master plan can go in front of the in front of the commissioners, and the commissioners get this thing and they'll say this is you know, priority, and then this is secondary, and this is the least priority. And so they can sit there and go up and write grants and do things, but they can only do it for things on the major priorities. And then they can't start there and say, oh, but I don't care about this. I just got this property next to me that's owned by my friend, and I'm going to build a park over there. They can't do it. It's got to be in the comp plan. It's just against the law. And so if we have citizens who want to sit there and be the 12, I will support this.
They have to create a brand new one?
We have a brand new one. We need 12 new citizens, we need 8 new board members, and we need 5 new commissioners, and we need 2 new people. Go ahead,
They
Randy.
can
If
adopt
I'm
that one if they want.
Huh?
If they want a new commission, a new parks commission, we literally look at it, say, we make the motion to adopt this as our comprehensive plan. They are, whatever that commission is, they're allowed to do that however they want.
Sure.
It's not dictated by us or anybody else.
Right. And really, we're not out to recreate the wheel.
Oh, go ahead.
A couple questions. As you're retired, and a lot of us are, what's the incentive for some of us to be on the board or want to? Is there any paid employees or stipends?
There is, and it's authorized by the RCWs that create an MPD. It was as high as, I think, $6,500. That was in 2002, but it's been increased.
$500.
It's, well, it's like $100 for meetings.
Per meeting, okay.
It lays it out, but
Saw that.
it's currently been raised to a limit of around $10,000.
Which
per
comes
year.
to $70 a day, or $70 for up to 3 meetings a week is what it averages out to.
Second question is, where are you proposed to get the revenue?
That's a good question.
I know.
The MPD itself, okay, will be funded by a tax levy. It'd be a lift levy, and it
On
would
the
be,
property owner's house, you said?
that is correct, 20 cents per thousand, and so that works out to about $30 a year on a house of about $145,000 is what we figured. Okay, so that would give us an operating total of $1.2 million once the monies are realized. It takes about a year and a half, I'm looking at her, to begin realizing those tax dollars. So,
So what happened in 2008 that you're starting over? When you say 2008, Herb's done something and you're starting over?
Well, no.
Or what's
Herb was,
taking so long and?
Since 2008?
This is when this plan was done, the
Right, and
trails
you're talking
plan
about
was
doing it
done in
over again?
2008.
no, what he's saying is that this is the current county
implement,
parks plan.
Okay.
And once an MPD is stood up, then a lot of the things that were created or the relationships that you had with the county, okay, you're now standing alone as an MPD and it's a separate entity, okay? So that could be readopted as the current plan. But all of your relationships, like currently the county would say, okay, I need some help from the engineering people down at Public Works. And the parks might pay Public Works, to do some work for them, right? The MPD would have to stand up and also renegotiate any help that we would receive from the county. Yeah, right now the parks can go to the district attorney and say, can you review this document, right? The MPD would have to have its own lawyer to do that, right? So some of those relationships have to be reestablished.
Okay.
Back here.
Yes, sir.
What are who are the proposed users of these trails? What are the proposed restrictions and rules? I mean,
Why?
Well,
Now, can I say, on this plan here, though, there are a variety. If you take a look at them, some of them are equestrian, so they're made for horses. Some of these trails have been proposed, just for hikers. A lot of these are ADA accessible trails. Okay, so it has a wide range, but they're all kind of got to be specific to what their purposes are.
so you're not going to have many multi-use ones?
they will
Oh,
all be multimodal, multi-use.
there's
That's
over
the plan.
300 and some miles of multi-modal connected trails in here.
But not ATV trails.
It's not ATV or
Not motorized.
no off-road vehicles,
Oh,
no.
okay.
Yeah.
It's good for the horses.
Good
No,
for horses.
and this actually allows us to get into like safe street programs and stuff that are out there and we're not taking use of right now, which is a program that's supposed to help us get our kids to school safe. And I know that is kind of a nice concern of what we're doing here. Go ahead, Jesse.
Yeah, and so what Mel had stated, and for everybody to know that, when that trails plan was done in 2008, they looked comprehensively throughout the county itself. And so I worked with Mr. Keats too a little bit on that trails plan and discussions, or the Toohey State Forest, which already has 200 miles of multi-use ORV trails, that is that type of opportunities given. So they were looking at other opportunities for the remaining parts of Mason County, and so that's why they came up with what they came up with. And I also wanted to tell the group with regards to a plan, I think Neil had mentioned, for revenue, to attain additional revenues down the road through grants and stuff, you have to have that plan. And so as Randy had stated, you can adopt it, you can make modifications to that plan, or you can totally revamp it based upon whatever the commissioners and the advisory boards decisions.
And like Monty was stating, as we stand up a Metropolitan Parks District, it puts us in a very strong position, you know, if we stay county strong, right? And if we're representing the entire county and the region, then it really helps us out when we're applying for RCO grants, WWRP grants. And these are all things associated with bringing in some of those additional dollars, you know, for the expenses needed to develop some of this stuff. Nothing's going to happen overnight, you know. A major trail system like that will always be phased in over time. You know.
Can I say, our village just mentioned something, would you repeat it about how we are coming to a good time for the 2018 RCO grant cycle?
You are, I'm also on the Friends of the Park, so there are other members too, but, you know.
We go for experience and expertise.
I think that when I look at it, I've been here 45 years and been in the county, and I'm a professional in Parks and Recreation. That was what I was involved in on not only, you know, local and state and nationally, but it is very hard for me to, when I look at our county and all of the things that they have to look at as a general county government, those are big things that they have to consider at all times, you know. And you know, I think my professor, when I first started in Parks and Recreation, said, "Now you know you're a non-essential service, don't you?" And you know, yeah, we do, you know, but we also know that it's you know, it's a life-changing thing. It's what we do culturally that you know, it makes us who we are when we are able to get out and to recreate and exercise and have opportunities to be active and play and do all of those things. So
Define your neighborhoods.
yeah, it does. And so when I look, you know, I understand. I mean, it's been really hard for this county. You know, the REIT 2 came in, and it had to go to other uses, and so the budget used to be, I think when John first came, $1.5 million, and that's kind of why we geared it to the $1.2 million to try to get back to at least. And that's not a heavy budget. That's just a reasonable one to try to work with. And then it's gone down to 500,000. It's just had to go lower. So this gives you an opportunity, or all of us as voters out here, to say, okay, we want to have a single interest in what we're doing. We want to, you know, we have to pay for that, and it's a minimal amount. We try to keep it in a reasonable budget. And then the voice is really all about Parks and Recreation. That's going to be the one thing that you think about at all given times. And you know, he talks about trails, but I talk about playgrounds. You know,
Sure.
I think that they're absolutely critical. It's where's my boat ramp, and you know, where's my this, and those kinds of things that are very important to all of us.
Right.
And that is true. The comprehensive plan has been a whole public process. With a survey, and you talk about who will these 5 be. If you even look at the names in here in just the most recent comp plan, you'll see many people from the north end that were, you know, they're silent people, but very, very well rounded in knowing what is good for Parks and Recreation. They came to the table, they worked on this plan for 3.5, 4 months that we worked on it. So not only was this group amazing and phenomenal, there was another group before that. So your citizens are out here, you just maybe don't exactly know who has that kind of passion. I mean, like there's a fellow that we work with all the time, John Johnson. He has always been in the schools in the choice program at Shelton. And you know, he understands that children's health is really critical. And he has a passion for having kids out and running and active. You know, when I look at, you know, we're working right now with the school district in Hood Canal, seeing if we can get the track and the inner area done on a matching grant and working in partnership with that school district. When I started to look up the numbers of where are we ranking in health in Mason County, and I was like shocked in ways. I mean, out of 39 counties, we were ranked 35th. You know, so there are a whole bunch of health issues out here. One of them is being active and having an ability to, you know, be active and be out there. And the health department has worked diligently on that number, and I think they've gotten the number now down to 25 out of 39. But you can see there what they're saying in a rural county like this, as an example. This rural county, because of the way the geography and the roads intertwine. I mean, when you try to get from here over to the Tahuya and then back over to here, that's an encumbrance. But they say in this rural area of Mason County, the recommendation is that you need an active recreation site within 3 miles of everyone's home. That's not the state standard, which is 5, and the national standard, which is about the same. So because of trying to get your health up, that's a critical number, and it all serves this value. So for me, I see we would have an organization that's here, and it has one central focus, and it's all committed to that focus, and there's where the benefit will come, and you can see it. And so, you know, I appreciate the commissioners that were amazingly supportive of this, seeing that this would be a benefit to the citizens of this county. You know, it is up to the citizens to see if they want to put it in. But thank you very much for giving all of us as voters an opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes.
I gotta say, thank you.
Bill?
Okay, so how much is devoted towards trails? How much will be devoted towards boat ramps? Is there any?
You know, that's a great question, because, you know, a lot of the talk has been on trails, that's been my passion, right? But there's also, you know, parks that need to be maintained, new development for things like boat ramps, you know, and we would be looking at grant opportunities across the board for that. My vision goes larger than what I currently see in the county. You know, when I go to Port Orchard and just look at their skate park, you know, what a beautiful facility,
Nice, I just
right?
thought.
Why don't we have something like that out here? And then I was visiting my sister down in Lake Havasu, and the one in Lake Havasu is probably a third again larger than that. You know, and the kids are out there every night, the lights are on, you know, and
But that will come from the voice of the people. That's, no one creates it. Neil doesn't get to have what he wants. He doesn't get to have what I want, and I don't get to have what I want, but you get to have what you have. That's what has to happen. This comprehensive plan goes out to everyone, and everyone is asked a question, and everybody gives input into a survey, and then you sit down with that and start to run numbers. You know, how many ball fields do we really have, and what is the demand out here? Oh, we've got this many teams, and they can't even get there. They've got to play, you know, only 2 times a week. And no practices, and all that will come out. All the amount of inventory you have, what is the demand that's out here, and then what is the difference? And then you begin to write your plan, and you say, okay, this is what we've heard of all these recreations in this community, and so the plan becomes it. And that plan has to be done if you want to have any matching grants with the state of Washington. You have to be planning under the Growth Management Act, and you have to have a comprehensive plan every 6 years. So it's not like it sits on a shelf. It is every 6 years you get to weigh back into it.
And with respect, this plan here, you know, I think it is these plans both are a great starting point, because what we can do is we can use them and say, what has the, you know, county accomplished? Because they are good at a lot of things, and a lot of things have been accomplished. We got some really good projects that everybody's followed through with, but which ones can we sit there and go forward with? And where do they overlap? That's a conversation for entities that are not elected yet, and for people who have not yet volunteered to serve on citizens advisory boards. They're going to create the new document that's going to be the blueprint for this new MPD. But we hope to have at least an idea, maybe a non-binding resolution in front of the commissioners that just says, you know, here's kind of an idea, you know, this is kind of the way that they would propose. Mind you, of course, maybe, you know, that's just the Citizens Advisory Board. I have to talk to them.
Before we get into that, though, I want to get back to Phil's point, you know, because you're talking about boat ramps, and I think you're probably keen on what's happening out in Greatview or Fair Harbor.
Yeah, thanks, Neil. And you know, I mean, that's what, I don't know if people understand that, you know, we have ports that run boat ramps, we have a county that runs, you know, boat ramps, and all they know is their boat ramp is falling apart. And what can be done, you know, and so I think you're going to run into that, especially in Greatview, where nothing's been done since 1992. So yeah. I think as part of this conversation is, you know, we just need to be more efficient in government. Instead of having all these tiny ports trying to do this stuff, instead of, you know, mixed in with the park district, I think we just need to a county conversation is how can we do this? I mean, these boat ramps are important for recreation and for our shellfish industry,
Sure.
you know?
And it is confusing. You know, I've been a
Yeah.
part of the transportation board for,
Right.
what, about a year now, right?
Right.
And I still get confused between, is that a city road, state road, county road?
Right.
Each has its own
Right.
jurisdiction. And the same sort of thing, you know, you find that with the boat ramps too. You know, is it a port issue? Is it a county issue, et cetera? Yes, ma'am.
What are the term lengths and are there any limits?
Great question.
I know.
It's laid out by the RCWs, and the way that it is laid out is that as the vote is taken, let's assume that 5 people are elected. The amount of the votes that came in determines those first terms. Okay, and I believe the first 2 people that get, the first 2 people get 5 years.
6?
No, because the year cycle right now, and we're voting in an even year, these commissioners are for 5 years for the 2 highest vote getters, 3 years for the next 2 highest vote getters, 1 year for the 5th vote getter, the highest vote getter. But the interesting thing is they take office immediately November 10th or 11th, whenever the votes are certified. They immediately take position so that basically they're, you know, if you retroactively go back the year, they're serving what is going to be in the future 6-year terms for all of them.
So that begins the rotation.
Go ahead.
So is that for each position?
No,
There are
that's-
6 years for each
No,
position.
the tally, say there's more than 5 people that.
No, that,
It's the
of
winners.
the five commission positions, the 2, whatever it might be, number 3 and number 2 get the highest votes, number 4 and number 1 might get the next highest votes, and then number 5 might be the last highest vote getter, and then, you know.
No, I meant,
But
what if
assuming-
everybody, say all 5 inadvertently filed for the same position?
That would be a big mistake.
Well,
that would be
no, I'm just saying, there's that potential that somebody may not.
We're going to make sure that doesn't happen. But there is a possibility we get 6 or 8 people that run.
Right, but no,
So you would have like maybe 2 people that ended up running for the District 3 position.
Right.
Right? So whoever got the most votes would win, and then based on the other 5 positions, that would determine.
But you're only gonna
How
get
their-
one
how their
winner
first
in
term
one
would be set.
position, regardless of how many votes you.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Randy.
On that, you'll go down there, there'll be a piece of paper, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You'll pick it, if you pick one that's already got 3 people in it, that's your choice, but most likely they're gonna try to lead you to pick one that has none or something like that.
Right.
I wanted to touch on Phil's, one of the aspects about being a Metropolitan Parks District, it's a governmental entity all of its own, which has the right, the ability to actually team up with the Port of Grapeview in order to do that work. One of the problems the Port of Grapeview has is, as you know, is that they have one of the lowest taxing abilities in our region. They don't have enough money to be able to even make the matching funds to fix the boat ramp.
Sure.
Where this entity, if they chose, the new commission chose, that's how they want to focus, some of their efforts could come up with the matching money, be a team effort and make something like that happen. Where there's not a lot of other monies running around.
And so for Phil, the answer is, if this is important for the community, then you would think there'd be one person the community would say should stand up and run for one of these positions. And then you'd have somebody who would, think of that as, being something that would be. But, also, like, everybody can run, you don't have to run, anybody can be on the Citizens Advisory Committee that's gonna do the comp plan. And it doesn't matter if there's 25 people, you get 25 people showing up, do this, the comprehensive plan, and then the Citizens Advisory Board is only gonna be able to put this comp plan forward. And so it's whatever the citizens in the Citizens Advisory Board come up with through a series of public meetings and open houses. And that's how it's gonna get written, and that's how we guarantee that we have a good comprehensive park plan, and that the people we elect, they can only work off of that plan.
And it
Well, but
provides a lot
you're
of-
also working off your yearly budget, and like going back to Phil's issue, as you work through your year, You know, you're gonna be putting together a one-year plan, you're gonna be putting together a multi-year plan. You know, each of those is gonna be a template for going forward. But as things come up, you know, as they have in the Parks Department, right? We find out, you know, oh, Latimer's Landing needs an upgrade, right? Or we still haven't done what we need to do down in Union for their boat ramp.
Right.
You know, because we ran into a buzzsaw with DNR, right? So you have to take that as it comes up, just like Public Works, you know, you prioritize that, get it into the mill, get it on your budget, and then try to make it happen. But as Randy's saying, there's more leeway with the way that you can approach things as an MPD than perhaps as a county parks board. Did I say that right, Randy? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, you can partner up in a way that the others cannot.
Right. Or
Okay, I fully support this, and I was pushing for getting it on the ballot. However, during the commissioners' meeting, which I listened to on web TV, because I didn't want to go down there, Randy made a comment. The issue came up, what is this district going to obtain for properties? And Randy's comment was, we don't know, we can't negotiate with anybody until after the board gets elected, then we'll sit down and we'll figure it out. And then later, he made another comment, which to me was a killer to the whole project, where he said the county might decide just to keep the parks the way they are and let them have their district.
Neil, can I answer that?
I'll give you first crack.
All right.
Let me finish. This, in order to ask people to vote, I mean, that's the obvious thing that the voter's gonna wanna know.
Right.
What am I gonna own if I create this district?
Sure.
And not knowing that, the vote would have to be no.
Yeah, what are you walking into?
Yeah.
Right? And so how do you approach that? Well, Monty, I'll take a crack at it first. Okay. I like to look at successful models. You know, again, I'm not about recreating the wheel, you know, and I would never try to sit down and write a county resolution that would cover all that, because I just don't have that kind of imagination. But other smarter people than I over in Bainbridge Island put together their resolution, and they cover each of those points in detail. You know, they talk about personnel moving over, they talk about equipment moving over, right? So it is my proposal that I'm going to draft a resolution. Well, there's a camera rolling, so I'll just say it this way. I'm going to plagiarize the heck out of a resolution that's already out there, and I'm going to make it a Mason County resolution. And I'm going to have it up on the MCFOP website. It'll be available to the commissioners. It'll be available to the 5 candidates that would be running, you know, and I'm going to say that that's a good starting point. Now, it won't be until those commissioners are elected and the MPD is established that they can go in and finalize anything.
Yeah, but
Okay. Now, I know what you're looking for. I think what you would like to see is having all these terms laid out, put together a non-binding resolution, you know, let the commissioners sign off on that. But I don't think that's a good idea. And I'll tell you why. Because we're going to have some commissioners that are going to be walking into that resolution. We are going to have a new commissioner, at least one, right?
Yeah.
So now you've got a non-binding resolution out there that he's never even seen, that he has to commit to. You know, that's not really fair. I think that they need to be working with the new board, you know, from a better position than that. And I think that resolution would be a good start.
But unless the voter knows which parks are we getting for this district.
Right.
I mean, we may wind up with none of the existing parks as part of this district. So
Right.
now we're gonna have 2 park districts running in the county.
I thought you tapped into that now.
No, hand me that bottom stack, that bottom piece of paper. No, yeah, that one. No, that one. Yep, perfect. Okay. So this is the resolution that was put together, okay? And it has its recitals in there. And then it has, in section 2, the approval of a interlocal agreement And I think in that interlocal agreement, you know, that was where Bainbridge Island sat down and said, this is where we're going to get down into the real details and weeds of the issues, okay? And then a general ratification page. In the second, or actually in the first exhibit, in their recitals, you see the purpose of the agreement. But when you get into section 2, this is where they get into organization and administration, financing, okay? And each step along the way, Herb, they're citing the RCWs. They cover that, okay? Here is where they talk about the transfer of revenues, operational arrangements, personnel, equipment, real properties, insurance, liabilities, okay? The plan for the transition is covered, you know, effective dates and then all the basic, you know, indemnification clauses, right? So that will be available, I hope, to have my draft done within the next 2 weeks. And I think that it's a starting point that could be looked at.
All right, there we are, buddy. My coffee cooled down, my God. Okay, hey, just to say one thing about it is, this is what I'm saying is, we don't have to know all the details today. What we do is we have till the 22nd, the 23rd, 24th, 25th, to find that we have 5 people who are going to be good commissioners, and we talk to them. We get to know who they are and what they are stand for and what they would like to do. And then after they have already gone ahead and, you know, filed to be you know, on this, they have an opportunity to reach out to the commissioners and say, hey, listen, we'd like to know what we're getting involved in, and they can sit there and tell all of us, you know, more of what it is, you know, that's coming down the pipeline. But we have until November to make sure that we have committees and we have people that are involved all the way along the line. We need 2 people on the Citizens Advisory Board because there'll be a lot of dialogue going on, and it's a great way to have, you know, an open forum, you know, so that we can talk to the commissioners, you know, and then we keep everybody on top of what we've been doing, like we've been doing for years now, and reaching out here. So I think there's no reason to say we're not gonna, you know, give you an opportunity to have all your answers, you know, kind of know exactly what we're stepping into before you vote yes or no, you know, but let's not vote no yet because we don't have those questions.
Well, but what I'm saying, Herb, is that in 2 weeks, I'll have a document for you that you'll be able to look at. And I think that is, you know, obviously it's going to be a working copy.
All I'm saying is, before I vote no, I'm gonna wanna know exactly what properties we're gonna be controlling and everything else.
Right.
And if we don't know that.
There's 24 parks in the county.
But we have a whole year. We don't have to know those answers
Before
until the
November?
end of 2017.
No, you got to know those answers before
gotta know
November
before
because
the
that's when the
voters
ballot
I
is.
don't know.
Yeah.
Voters want to know.
You
Absolutely.
got to have those answers before the ballot is out there to be voted on.
And how are you gonna operate the park the first year when you have no income?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Wait, is that
I got an idea for
Okay,
that.
but I'm not quite
I got
sure
two,
I agree
actually.
with that. I'm
How are you
saying,
gonna run it?
wait, what are we changing? We just wake up, you know, we wake up in November and go on till January, and what we have is we have a Citizens Advisory Board that's working hard on a comp
You
plan.
can-
That's all that's happening. And for the first year, everything's still taken care of. The county still wakes up and takes care of the lawn and still files for the, you know, MCR Barfield. Everything stays the same.
If that agreement is in place with the county.
Did anybody else have any more questions for these folks?
Ken does, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a couple. How many Friends of the Park are there?
Well, I think all of you are friends of the park, so
No,
I didn't count.
of your organization.
Of our organization, we have positions for 7 directors. We currently have 5.
And none of them have expressed an interest in being a candidate?
Monty has.
Oh, awesome.
I've been on it the longest on the Citizens Advisory Board,
yeah,
and so I
just
wouldn't
wanted
ask
to-
anybody to do what I wouldn't want
I
to.
wanted to follow up, you know, Mary had asked that, and I'm happy to hear that.
I gotta say though,
I'm pleased.
I would really rather vote for 5 other people.
No.
And then I'd like to be on the Citizens Advisory Board, because
Doesn't
I've
work
gotten
that
used to
way.
being
Well,
there.
I think
I
that,
see 3 candidates up there right now.
Well,
I'm just
we've
happy.
actually, you know, I'm still waiting to hear from some talented North End stakeholders, but we've also got some names of, there was one person in the Lilliwap area and also one person in the Matlock area.
And we like John
That
Johnson.
we're reaching
I'm
out
happy
to.
to hear that. I have two other questions. At the PUD meeting that you had in Shelton, how many folks came to that?
We had exactly one person. It was awesome.
Yes.
Who knew about it?
Well, that was the thing. I mean, we got the word out really quickly. And of course, you know, we're going to go back and we're going to have several more meetings there. But for as quickly as that was announced, you know, we thought it would just turn into like an interim board meeting where we could talk about path forward. We had one gal show up.
And with respect, on Tuesday morning, when we all of a sudden said, oh, we better have a meeting, so like tonight, we could gain support so that tomorrow night we go in front of the commissioner and say, hey, please put this on the ballot. Well, last Tuesday, they said they put it on the ballot, so Wednesday we're like going, yeah, if 3 people show up, 1, 2, 3, but it'd be a good meeting. So we sat out there and we had a 4th person. It was a great meeting.
What else, Ken?
But my last question, have the Friends of the Park met with the school district here in North Mason about Feller?
Well,
Have we had any conversation?
we have worked on the Feller issue. We're very aware of the Feller issue. Even before John Keats left as director, we were approached at the Parks Department to see if that was something that the county wanted to take on under county parks. And we looked at all aspects of it, and what it came down to is that it would be very difficult to transfer that property to the county because of all the grants along the way towards Stellar that would have to be paid back before they were to the point where that property could be transferred. So that's the real sticking point with
The
that.
school board had a meeting.
Wait, I'm sorry, Randy?
They're gonna be paving, so we need to be respectful of our time. We're already past the 8 o'clock mark, so just, they're gonna need to pave up above, so you might wanna wrap up pretty soon.
All right.
Gotcha.
We've got one issue under new business. We have to take care of.
Okay, so I would say that, you know, it's a great place to wrap up, and we appreciate your time. I don't think that all the questions are answered. I'm sure there's probably a bazillion more. So hopefully in the near future, we can be invited back, and we'll grow this group and talk lots more.
Since you only had